Welcome to the first ever Set Sports Podcast. My name is Dean Ciampa, and I'm here with
George Hogan.
Gavin Karcic.
And today we have a very special guest, a St. John's basketball superfan, Billy Rabold, a.k.a. the Red Suit Guy. First off, Billy, I just wanted to thank you for being here and spending your time with us talking about St. John's. And today we just wanted to get to know you a little bit better and know your experience as the Red Suit Guy.
That's
awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm so happy I'm able to have a conversation with you three. This will be great.
Yes, I'm very excited. We'll get straight into questions. Gavin, you want to start?
Yeah. First question I have for you: what inspired you to become the Red Suit Guy?
That's a great question. So when I was must have been a sophomore or junior in high school, I went to one of my first St. John's games. And again, as you're a sophomore and junior, you're starting to think about college, but you don't really know what you're looking for, right? So now for Christmas one year, I received tickets to go see St. John's Pitt. And that game was for, I think it was January of 2011. And I'll never forget that game. I was sitting in the 200 sections at the Garden all the way up, and St. John's drove down the court with like 4 seconds left, hit a layup, and won the game. And I'll never forget the experience being in the arena when St. John's upset Pitt in that game. I think Pitt was ranked 4th in the country at the time. And for me, that was like, I want this. I want to be somewhere where sports is so important and the experience is so important. So when I had all my applications for college, and St. John's was a place I wanted to be at. So what inspired me to be the Red Suit Guy was my best friend and I started. We started in 2016. And we started just wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts that were red. And we said, let's do something different. And we decided to buy suits. And it was kind of a joke at first. And we never thought it would take off. First night we wore them, I have pictures of that. The amount of people that came up to take pictures of us, they're like, we love what you're doing. You got to keep doing this. So 2016, 10 years ago, 10 seasons ago, which is crazy to think. But yeah, that's how I started wearing this thing. And it's now become so much bigger than I ever imagined.
That's really awesome. Yeah,
that's awesome. And so obviously you just said that that basketball game made you fall in love with St. John's pretty much. But when in life did you really know that you wanted to be the fan that gets all the other fans going and hypes everyone up?
Yeah. So when I was a student at St. John's, I would sit in the student section, and at Karcic Arena, there's two seats. There's two sections behind each basket, and where the student section was behind the other basket. And it was always packed. And my friend Dylan and I, we'd always sit on the other side purely because there was more room, and I could stand first row, right on top of the team. And we just were being loud. We were showing our pride and showing the excitement of being at a St. John's men's basketball game and cheering loud. And trust me, guys, I've seen a lot of really rough basketball, but I've seen a lot of great high points like this past season and the beginning of this season. But it was just, my biggest thing is the experience. I love, when I'm on the Jumbotron screaming my head off like a lunatic, it's really to get the enjoyment out of everybody else who's there. And the number of people who come up to me, whether it be waiting for the train at Penn Station or if I'm at a restaurant, I could be here at work and people come up to me like, you look very familiar. Are you the guy who wears the red suit at all the St. John's games? So there wasn't really one defining moment, but it was just being loud and enjoying what we were doing. Just wearing the red suit just made it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So obviously the St. John's, they play in Queens and they do play in the Garden now. But what makes Queens such a special area for St. John's basketball?
Yeah, so great question. So the one thing I say, and I've said this for years, that I love when St. John's plays on campus at Karcic Arena in Queens, because that arena only has 5,200 seats in it, 5,400, something like that, or 5,600. And when that place is packed, and it can be so loud. I mean, I go back to the last couple of years, and as Rick Pitino has been here, and I've heard it before with the other coaches, whether it be Mike Anderson or Chris Mullen or Steve Lavin, there is nothing like it. Now, the Garden gets loud too, but I like the closer environment when wearing Queens. And there's a tagline that you three may have heard before, that we are New York's team.
Yep.
We really, we had fought with another university that is, they're known as the Orange Upstate. You guys may know who I'm talking about with Syracuse University. They said they were New York's team. And for a number of years, we would have a lot of battles back and forth of, who really was New York's team. And when you're in Queens and you're in the middle of New York City, there's no better place to be for basketball.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me, actually, I wanted to ask you, what is it like being Red Suit guy at the Garden opposed to being at Carnesecca? Like, what difference is it?
Great. George, I love that question. Okay, so people joke around with me all the time, and they say, Billy, going to games with you is like going with the mayor. Okay, people come up to me, take pictures with me. There are a number of fans who I've taken pictures with their kids over the last 10 years, and now they're like in college, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. The difference between, I can be loud no matter where I am, and at Carnesecca, it's a lot easier to be loud and everybody can hear you. But, at the Garden, I'm on the Jumbotron.
Mm-hmm.
I may have to send you guys a couple videos if you want of me screaming on the Jumbotron,
Absolutely,
dancing and all that. So the only difference is the number of people. I am still the same Billy Rabold. Like, it doesn't make a difference whether I'm in Queens, I'm in Manhattan, if I'm on the road. Maybe I'm not as loud when I go on the road to watch St. John's games, because when you're in enemy territory wearing the red suit,
Gotta be careful.
It can get a little dicey.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the difference is just the number of people that react. I mean, back, we played Michigan about a month ago, and they got me on the dance cam. And guys, believe it or not, this is not a dancer. Okay. They got me on the Jumbotron for a dance cam and a karaoke cam, and I was screaming my head off. The number of people who have sent me messages on social media, they were like, the people around me who are Michigan fans loved you. They want to know more about you. Like, they were so enamored by what you do. So again, the only real difference is just how many people are there, whether it be 5,600 or if it's going to be 15,000. It's really cool to think.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You've been a St. John's fan for many years. What are the ups and downs of being a fan?
There have been so many. There have been so many, guys. And listen, I'm a Mets fan, I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Rangers fan, I'm a Knicks fan. There's a lot of ups and downs with all my teams that I root for. But, with St. John's, and as you guys may or may not realize, the whole world of college basketball, the landscape has totally changed over the last few years with this NIL that you guys may or may not know about.
Yeah.
And before that, we had a lot of issues, whether it be injuries, whether it be losing streaks, whether it be whatever. I had a very good friend of mine, Derek, and him and I would go to every game together. And when we won the Big East championship in March, I said, I never thought this was going to happen. And I wasn't trying to be like a jerk about it. I'm like, no, this is crazy to think that 12 years ago when I started this to now being the Big East champion with Rick Pitino as our coach is mind-blowing to me. So there's a lot of ups and downs. Thankfully, we're on the upswing now hopefully for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask, because you said you're a Knicks fan as well, could you ever see yourself doing something to be a big Knicks super fan as well, maybe getting an orange and blue suit?
So I will. So people have asked me, would you wear a different color suit for different teams? I think I would have to stick to the red. Plus, the Knicks 41 home games, that's a lot of dedication. I struggle with the 18 that I have to get through every season. But no, I think I'm going to stick with the red for St. John's. And sometimes I have some other suits in there as well.
So I have a question. If the style red ever goes, it just goes out, what other color are you going to pick up and just say, that's the color I'm going to use?
As long as St. John's doesn't change from red, I will be in red forever. All right. So I will do my best to make sure it doesn't go out of style at all.
All right. One question here. Do you wear when St. John's has the white out? Do you wear the white suit? So
yeah.
So one of my questions. Oh, sorry. What was the story behind the white suit you wear for the whiteout games? Do you coordinate it with Rick Pitino?
So I wish I could say yes, and how cool that would be. That Rick and I text all the time. Absolutely not. So where that white suit came from. So for a number of years, obviously I wear the red suit to every game. And in fact, when Dylan and I started this back 10 years ago, we had bought a second suit and we didn't tell each other what it was going to be. And it was going to be a random night. We would wear this suit, and it ended up being like a crazy flamingo, tropical, like beach suit that we both had. But for a number of years when we had the whiteout, people would text me, they'd call me, they'd see me at games and like, so you're going to wear a white suit? And I said, no, I'm the red suit guy. I can't, it kind of goes against the whole shtick. Okay. So when a couple of years ago, when Rick Pitino came in, I said, you know what? He's known for his white suit that he wore in Louisville. So I said, you know what? I'll go out. I bought myself a white suit. I wore it to the game hoping that Rick was going to wear the white suit. And I have a couple of people who are like, I think he's wearing it. They know people who had seen him earlier in the day. And sure enough, he came out in the white suit. And it was awesome. Bananas. It was awesome. And then at the end of the game, when he was walking off, I went over, I said, Rick, can we get a picture? He said, absolutely. And he looked at me like, I can't believe someone else decided to wear a white suit. I think there's only 2 people in the Garden of 18,000 people that had a white suit in their wardrobe, and it was him and I. So unfortunately, we didn't coordinate it. It would be pretty cool if I was like, yeah, Rick, you and I, like tonight's the red out for St. John's.
Yeah.
If he comes out in a red suit, I may explode.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I want to ask, what is your favorite interaction that you've ever had with like a fan, a player, or a coach?
So, it's really cool to think back. And I made this comment before that I never thought this would become a thing, and it's become a thing. So, I've had different opportunities, and now that I've done it for so long, we have a lot of former players that come back, and they come back and support the team, and whether they come over from after their season overseas ends, and we just talk, and they're like, dude, it's so good to see you. I'm so happy you're still doing this. I met Coach Pitino a couple of times, and talking to him, he would make you want to run through a brick wall. I mean, he is such a New Yorker, like he totally gets it. And I mean, there was one night that 2017, 2018, maybe, that we had beat Villanova, and Villanova was first in the country. And it was just after we had beaten Duke at the Garden. Okay. It was a Tuesday night game, and I had gotten a text, and I didn't live on campus. I lived like 15 minutes away. And I got a text from people saying, come to campus because the team who just beat the number 1 team in the country is going to be coming back about midnight. We were going to do a little celebration, whatever. And getting to hang out with those players, it was Justin Simon, Marvin Clark, Shamori Pond, like getting to talk to them is awesome. I mean, I look back and there's so many great players that we've had over the last 10 years. And like I said, there's been a lot of ups and downs. When it comes down to it, basketball players are people, right? And they're no different than us. And when you get to sit down and talk to them or just catch up with them or just dap them up and just be like, great game. I love what you're doing. One cool thing that I will say is there was a guy who played on St. John's, and you guys may have heard the name, Dylan Adewusu. Yep. Mm-hmm. He had transferred to Seton Hall 2 or 3 seasons ago. And the last 3 times that we had played Seton Hall, he would come over and say, what's up to me.
Wow.
I went to Providence for the March Madness tournament, and Seton Hall didn't make it. And he came up to me and he was like, Billy, it's so good to see you. Like, I love that you're still doing it. So like, there's a lot of those moments that, don't get lost on me, because again, I am no different than anybody else. I just wear a red suit and I scream my head off so that I don't have a voice tomorrow morning. That's the only difference. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question there, Dean.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So also that reminded me, hearing the name Shamori Ponds brings back great memories. I've been a fan my whole life, pretty much. My grandparents met at St. John's, and so they have season tickets. Well, they don't anymore, but they did when we were younger. And I would go to like every game with my grandfather, and that's just one of my favorite memories from my childhood. So I wanted to ask
Shamori is
yeah. I just wanted to say, obviously, there's a lot of good players now. So I wanted to. Who do you think one of the best players we got through the transfer portal this season was? Or is?
That's a good question. So, the thing is with the NIL and you look at this transfer portal, and it's really so crazy to think that the guys that came in, they were all the number one guys at their previous schools, right? You know, and first person comes to mind is Ian Jackson, right? Who came from UNC. I believe he went to Hayes. I had actually watched him when he was a senior at Hayes play at Carneseca in the state semifinal or something like that. And I remember, like, it was between UNC and St. John's, I believe it was, when he was coming down to his commitment. And I'm like, this kid is nasty. Like, you know, and the biggest, like, for him, for the hometown kid to come back home, it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
You know, as I said before, we are New York's team, right? And that is so true when you're able to get a guy like Ian Jackson back to Queens. I think he grew up in the Bronx or wherever he was. So to me, having Ian Jackson here is awesome. And to see how he's going to progress with his new haircut. I'm sure you guys may have seen the new haircut that he had. Unrecognizable. I will tell you. When I saw him in person,
we have a funny story behind that, actually. Haircut.
Go for it. Go.
I was there last game, and when we saw him warming up on the court, it was hard to find him at first because I couldn't. It was just completely different.
Yeah.
So where I sit, and I know a few of the security guards at the Garden, and I was talking to one of them. I haven't seen them, you know, because I don't see these guys all the time, right? I see them during St. John's season. I'll see them during some Ranger games and whatnot, but I go up to him, and all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, who is that? I was like, oh, that's probably Ian. Yeah, that would be Ian. So, and you know, I look at Ian, and you look at Dylan Mitchell, Dylan Darling, like this team to help support Zuby is so impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's incredible to think that we actually are in a spot where people want to come to St. John's.
Yeah.
Because of having Coach Pitino. That you know, Rick is a Hall of Famer for a reason, guys. You know, and he has had a ton of success during his tenure as a coach over the last, whatever it is, 40, 50 years, as he talks about. And it gets me super excited for what the future has in store for us.
Yeah, we also have. I was gonna say me, Gavin, and a couple other boys. We were at the home game at Carneseca against Bucknell.
Bucknell. Yeah.
Yeah, and so during Ian Jackson was shooting free throws, and during one of the free throws, our friend Matt screamed to get a haircut, and he looked over and pointed at us and like laughed a little, and then so after the game, we went out to where the players exit and waited for them. We met Pitino. We met like most of the players. It was awesome, great experience. But Ian Jackson was like, oh, that was you guys. And then, of course, when we saw that he got a haircut, Matt texted us. He's like, yo, guys, this is all me.
It was all Matt. Yeah. So thank you, Matt, for starting the conversation, because Pitino heard it too. He's like, that kid's right. I think he may be onto something.
Yeah.
And what do you think makes Pitino such a special coach?
So you look at his track record, right? You look at his performance as he's coached all these years, and historically, Pitino's teams do what you want what a team to do. You want them to get better each game, And if you think about how we started the season, the first 9 games. 4 of the first 9 games are against top 20 opponents. Guys, I've been watching this team game in and game out for 13 years, every game. I cannot tell you when we had 1, let alone 2 top 20 before Big East play. And the way that our schedule is being set up, Pitino purposely does that because he knows that he wants to challenge his guys so that when they see the similar competitors come March, they know how to react. So the one thing with Rick is that his teams always get better, and his staff that's around him, they know how to make the players better. And, Rick, when he speaks, people listen. And especially this generation of college athlete, they really need to, they understand the importance of what a coach like Pitino, you think about Pitino's like a Roy Williams, like a Coach K, like from that generation, and that generation's getting older. But the players are understanding that, like, hey, he knows what he's doing. If we listen to him, we're going to win. So, just understanding how good he is as a coach and how smart he is the reason why he has so much success.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I know you mentioned that we've played some really good teams in the season already, but does some people obviously have been saying that the performance so far has worried them. How do you feel going forward into the season?
Yeah, so and I'll be honest, I'm one of those people. I watch it and it's sloppy. They're not, hitting on all cylinders. So, the one thing, and I mentioned this a few minutes ago, guys, with the transfers, think of all these guys that came in, right? They were the best on their teams. And guess what? They were probably the best in their high school and their AAU programs. Mm-hmm. And they never had the talent around them to play off of. They've always been I don't want to say the center of attention, but they've been the star of their team. So you're right, George, that the beginning of the season has been a little sloppy, has been a little messy, but they have to learn how to play together. And we saw that, listen, the first 8 minutes against Iona on Saturday were rough.
I was there. Yeah, it's not great.
Not great. That's a good way to describe it. It was not great. But the 32 other minutes, they just dominate. Their defense, when it clicks, is incredible. When their offense is clicking, listen, they've scored 90 points, however many times this season. So and I just said it, with Pitino, they're going to get better. They're going to learn how to play together. And when they get to end of January, early February, this team is going to be very dangerous. Okay, and admittedly, starting the season off in the top 10, top 5, whatever we were, I wasn't a big fan of it. I was excited. I didn't know what to do with myself because it was we're the high expectations. But hey, when you play 4 top 20 teams with a team who has not played together before, mm-hmm. You're not going to be perfect. Yeah. So how I feel, and I text my buddies about this all the time, we're going to be fine. I have a coworker who's a huge UConn fan, and he gives me flack all the time. And I said, wait till March. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait to see what we're going to do, because this team, they are going to find a way to make it work, because Pitino only knows excellence, right?
Mm. Yeah, that's right.
So
I really hope they do, because I know they play UConn at the Garden in February on a Friday night. I'm going to that game. I cannot wait for that game.
It's going to be electric, dude.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
They just got to learn how to play as a team, and they'll be fun, like you said.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my best friends is a UConn fan as well, and we also have argued a lot about this. But I told him just wait. We own the Big East. It's all us.
Correct. Yeah. It's our time now.
Yeah. Also, on February 9th at the game at the Garden, our unified sports team from Manhasset High School will be playing at halftime on the court, which is pretty awesome. So
what? That's February 9th, you said?
Yeah. So if you want to coordinate something to meet up at that game, we could do something like that. That'd be awesome.
I'm actually going to that game.
Yeah.
Awesome. That would be really cool. That would be. I would love to, and I'll be there. I don't really move from my seat from the Garden. I kind of just hunker down, get my waters, and then I'm ready to rock. So that's going to be really cool.
Mm. Yeah, I also wanted, we're going to be wrapping up soon, but I wanted to ask you a question, not about St. John's, but how do you keep your voice from completely going away all the time? And how do you get it ready and prepare for the games coming up?
So George, I just turned 30 in April, okay? This season, more than ever before, I need to learn how to do pre-game, vocal routines or something, because my voice cracks like I'm an 11-year-old sometimes when I'm chanting. People know, I used to be a teacher before at my current job, and I would never tell the students about the red suit. And it was so funny that they would find out organically. Yeah. And, when I used to teach the freshmen, they would all giggle. And when they would hear my voice, they're like, oh, what, was there a St. John's game last night? I said, yes, there was. So my voice takes a beating, but you know what? It's for the excitement and to get the crowd going. So I don't really mind it. But I have been drinking more tea than I ever did before. Yeah. So I think that's going to help me long term.
Sounds good. Yeah. Also, one more question. Sorry, I wanted to ask.
Don't be sorry. I love this, guys.
All right. So how do you feel the NIL? Do you think it's good for college basketball, bad for college basketball? Because I know obviously it's helped St. John's a lot, but that's a very controversial topic. So
yeah. So NIL can be controversial. Now the concept in itself, I think, is good. These players, whether it be basketball, whether it be football, if it's baseball or soccer, like these schools, and I'm not saying just St. John. I'm not saying just St. John's. I'm saying looking larger, looking across the NCAA landscape, these teams bring in a lot of money to the school. Okay. And should the students get some money? I think so. But the one thing the NCAA didn't do a good job with was putting a cap. I mean, there are stories about how much money these guys are making, and like, it's kind of unfair in a way. Like, and again, St. John's has benefited. I actually know very well. One of the guys, if you guys go to games, you may see Storm Marketing. They have ad space and there's videos. The guy who founded that, I'm very close with. This guy Vin, and the way he does it is really awesome. Like a grassroots campaign, like whatever you can contribute, whether it be $10 or if it's $10,000, you are contributing to something bigger, right? And there are other NIL collectives that look to help out the athletes at St. John's and all schools, right? So I like the idea of the NIL. I do wish that there was maybe a cap because some schools. Think about some of these football schools. Right? Like they're going to throw stupid money at some of these athletes. And listen, do the kids deserve it? Yeah, they deserve something. But if you're making, $5 million, that's crazy money.
It's also unfortunate for the schools that don't have the money to spend because
totally true. Like it's so, and it's going to have a further divide between, when you think about March Madness, right? Think back to a number of years ago, like Florida Gulf Coast, you have these Cinderella teams, right? That they have a couple of good guys that are on the team and they just find their way through. St. Peter's a couple years back. Now,
McNeese
they're just going to. You guys remember that? Yeah. And the issue is that you get to a point where you're just going to deplete and destroy, these mid-major schools. But you're right. I mean, thankfully, St. John's has a great alumni base that are looking to support the men's basketball program. But unfortunately, for as much of a win it is for us, it takes away from a lot of other schools.
Yeah, I agree. So I think we're ready to wrap it up, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And can I show you guys one thing? This is, and I'm going to tell you this, that not many people have seen this. So I figured, being that you guys are starting this podcast, it'd be pretty cool to share. So at my last job, can you see that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine for my birthday create this for me.
That's awesome.
And
That's
it's
cool.
Carneseca Arena with me on the court in a red suit. And I have it hanging in my office.
That's super cool.
And not many people have seen that. So I figured share that with you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is really cool. And you got your merch line and everything, and I love it. It's really nice.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I never would have thought this would be it. And like people stopped me. There were people that I work with that stopped me when we played at Carneseca. I think it was the Bucknell game, and I didn't even realize. And he's like, "Oh, it was good to see you in the office today." I'm like, "It was good to see you too." But it's awesome. It really is so cool. The merch line. When I see people wearing my stuff, it's like I never would have thought this could be possible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Billy Rabold, a.k.a. the Red Suit Guy. And I think that wraps it up for the first ever Set Sports podcast. I'm Dean Ciampa.
I'm Gavin Karcic.
I'm George Hogan.
And that's it.